ਸੋ ਸਵਾਗਤ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਜੀ ਇੱਕ ਵਾਰ ਫਿਰ ਆਪ ਸਭ ਦਾ ਅੱਜ ਦੇ ਇਸ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ। ਮੇਰੇ ਨਾਲ ਸਾਥ ਦੇਣਗੇ ਡਾਕਟਰ ਨੀਲ ਟੈਸਲਰ, ਜਿਹੜੇ ਕਿ ਇੱਕ ਨੈਚੁਰੋਪੈਥ ਨੇ ਤੇ ਖਾਸ ਤੌਰ ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਹੋਮਿਓਪੈਥੀ ਦੇ ਸਪੈਸ਼ਲਿਸਟ ਹਨ। ਅੱਜ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਚੱਲੇਗੀ ਮੈਡੀਸਿਨਸ ਅਤੇ ਹਰਬਸ ਦੇ ਬਾਰੇ। ਹਰਬਲ ਮੈਡੀਸਿਨ ਦੀ ਬੜੀ ਇੰਪੋਰਟੈਂਸ ਹੈਗੀ ਅੱਜ ਅਸੀਂ ਦੇਖ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ, ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਸਾਈਡ ਇਫੈਕਟਸ ਜੋ ਅਸੀਂ ਦਵਾਈਆਂ ਖਾਂਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਉਸ ਦੇ ਬਾਰੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਹੀ ਹੈ। ਕਿਸ ਤਰੀਕੇ ਨਾਲ ਅਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਕਿਚਨ ਨੂੰ ਹੀ ਆਪਣਾ ਇੱਕ ਮੈਡੀਸਿਨਲ ਸੈਂਟਰ ਬਣਾ ਸਕਦੇ ਹਾਂ, ਸਪਾਈਸਿਸ ਦੇ ਹਰਬਸ ਦੀ ਕਿਵੇਂ ਵਰਤੋਂ ਕਰਕੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਆਪ ਨੂੰ ਤੰਦਰੁਸਤ ਰੱਖ ਸਕਦੇ ਹਾਂ, ਉਸ ਬਾਰੇ ਜਾਣਕਾਰੀ ਲੈਣੇ ਡਾਕਟਰ ਨੀਲ ਟੈਸਲਰ ਤੋਂ। Welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Thank you. So we'll start off with Dr. Tessler about herbs and especially spices, what we use in our homes. It's a great thing that our Indian cuisine has a lot of spices which we use, and we definitely that gives us advantage over other cooking methods. But on the other hand, if you could just take us on this journey as to how we can use our kitchen, spices for our better health.
Well, the first thing to understand is that herbal medicine has been around for thousands of years,
Right.
because human beings have co-evolved with plants, and every part of the world has its own plants and its own plant medicine that's developed. But if you read books from 1,000 years ago, or you read books from 500 years ago, or even 100 years ago, the knowledge hadn't really grown very much.
Right.
Whereas now, with the application of scientific research to all the different spices and herbs and original medicinal herbs, whether Chinese or Ayurvedic or Western, there's a scientific understanding of how these herbs work in the human body. What are the medicinal principles?
Right.
What systems are they affecting? And it is really remarkable how widespread you can influence human health with simple kitchen herbs, all the way up to the medicinal herbs in China. Somewhat true in India, but particularly in places like China and Europe, they would use a lot of medicinal herbs right in the soup or in the stew,
Right.
or in the food. So these things are making a major difference, whereas Western culture in North America, they don't use much of this. It's more bland,
Right.
and more simplified. So bringing back herbal medicine into the kitchen, very important. But if you want to talk about India, for instance,
Right.
naturally, we can talk about herbs like haldi, or jeera,
Right.
or shabdkosh. These are all very highly medicinal plants.
Right.
Coriander, cumin, turmeric, particularly if we look at turmeric, which is haldi,
Yeah.
has tremendous medicinal benefits for the liver, for the immune system, for the nervous system, prevents breakdown in the brain, age-related breakdown. So they know, for example, that Alzheimer's rates in India are much lower.
Right.
Now the problem with haldi is it's very poorly absorbed. So they now know that if you add black pepper with haldi, and a lot of Indian people will take haldi in milk before they go to bed at night, or as a kind of an evening medicine. I know many people who do that. But if you add a little black pepper,
Okay.
it dramatically increases the body's ability to absorb
Okay.
the medicinal character of the plant. Yeah.
So like you talked about haldi, now even in the Western world also, a lot of things like, for example, karela or haldi, they are considered to be the best tonics, I would say.
Yes.
And now not only in the form of raw haldi, but even in capsule forms also you can get all these things. But when you talk about absorption as such, now there have been some reports which say that taking a pill is not as effective as having a liquid of the same thing.
Yes.
What do you say about that?
Well, the first thing is that any given plant has many, many different factors that are really working together,
Right.
because the plant is evolved in that way. In modern medicine, what they're doing really is they're taking one particular molecule, often originally discovered in a plant, and they're isolating that molecule and concentrating it, and that can create many side effects in the body.
Right.
Not totally dissimilarly, but much safer, is the use of, for example, curcumin. Curcumin is the active principle of haldi.
Okay.
And curcumin is now, you can buy it in encapsulated form, and companies are, you might say, falling over themselves to create a more absorbable form.
Right.
And yet the evidence shows that you want to also have some of the whole plant in there because of some of the other factors that support the curcumin itself. So, but to answer your question, there are different ways that herbs are prescribed. So for example, in my office, I have about 120 herbal tinctures. So these are liquid extracts of the herbs, which get much higher rates of absorption and much better medicinal action. And I compound them individually for the patient according to their needs.
Right. So as you very rightly said that, it is how you intake that particular herb that makes a difference. But definitely in home, when we are using all these things, we talked about black pepper, jeera or haldi, this is naturally used in all the cooking what we do.
Yeah.
But also we talk about the other things what we use. For example, let's take some spices as such. So which spices are good, which should be taken regularly? What do you recommend?
Well, the truth is all of them, because whether you're talking haldi, which has tremendous benefits and is used in daily cooking in Indian food, or you're talking about the peppers, or you're talking about cumin, which is jeera, these have tremendous wide-ranging benefits. For one thing, they're supporting healthy nutrition. For another thing, they're supporting healthy intestinal function. They're supporting healthy liver function, and they often have benefits for the brain. For example, cumin has been shown to have cognitive benefits. In other words, the ability to think clearly, creatively, coherently, and the same with haldi, which has tremendous benefits for the brain. Then you have some herbs, like for example the cayenne pepper, that kills parasites in the intestinal tract. That's very important in a country like India. Because the water is not always reliable. And so, the herbs seem to work together to provide wide-ranging benefits. And even putting them together in food, say a dal or a sabji, is actually going to increase their absorption and not really take away from their medicinal character. They can be cooked and still be very valuable.
Right. And as far as the medicinal herbs are concerned, what you mentioned that these are not much in use in India, but spices are more in use as compared to the other Asian countries. So over here in Canada, our lifestyle has changed. The weather is different, but our work ethics have also changed, as compared to India, where people, it was hot weather and a lot of perspiration. And here we mostly are having sitting jobs, or, our health is not that vibrant as it used to be. And definitely fast food, everybody is so busy that there's no time for cooking, and all these old traditions what we used to have are basically finishing off in the newer generation. So what is your experience, because you have a lot of experience in this particular field, over 4 decades what you have been working, what would be your recommendations how to incorporate these things, whereas life is becoming more faster, and especially for our children, they don't have any time, and of course more of cooking is also stopping now, and people are going out mostly for breakfast, even lunch and dinner it's outside. So
well, I encourage, this happens a lot with my Indian clientele, it's a big part of my practice, is I specifically speak to the young people and encourage them to eat the traditional food, because the traditional food has many health benefits. When you're dealing with dal or chana, these have many good benefits. They're excellent sources of fiber, excellent sources of protein, excellent sources of minerals and vitamins. And they're eating a lot of chips and French fries and burgers and things of this nature. And I encourage them to go back to the traditional food, but I also encourage the families to find new ways of cooking. So it's a marriage of the old and the new. So instead of overcooking, as we talked about before, overcooking sog or that kind of a thing, use a blender. Cook it less, so it has more freshness to it, and it has more of the nutrition is maintained, rather than many of these overcooked vegetables. It's not necessary nowadays to cook like that. So using a food processor or using a blender, you can save time, you can preserve nutrition and get more flavor. And so I think an incorporation of some of the modern techniques with the old original foods, which were so healthy, I'm trying to encourage the teenagers and young people to maintain a relationship with that traditional food.
That's wonderful. As always, time is limited and we cannot talk in details, but definitely people can take advantage of your wisdom. And on a one-on-one talk you can have with them. What is your number where they can call you?
604-542-9759. I'm in South Surrey, and look forward to meeting them.
It was a pleasure talking to you. Thank you and best wishes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. ਸੋ ਡਾਕਟਰ ਟੈਸਲਰ ਨਾਲ ਜੋ ਅਸੀਂ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਕੀਤੀ ਕਿ ਘਰਾਂ ਵਿੱਚ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਸਾਡੇ ਮਸਾਲੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਵਰਤਦੇ ਹਾਂ, ਜਿਵੇਂ ਕਿ ਹਲਦੀ ਦੀ ਗੱਲ ਕੀਤੀ, ਧਨੀਏ ਦੀ ਗੱਲ ਕੀਤੀ, ਜੀਰੇ ਦੀ ਗੱਲ ਕੀਤੀ, ਜਾਂ ਹੋਰ ਬਹੁਤ ਸਾਰੇ ਸਾਡੇ ਕੋਲ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਮਸਾਲੇ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਨੇ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਸਹੀ ਵਰਤੋਂ ਨਾਲ ਅਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਆਪ ਨੂੰ ਤੰਦਰੁਸਤ ਰੱਖ ਸਕਦੇ ਹਾਂ। ਜੀਵਨ ਬਦਲ ਰਿਹਾ, ਅੱਜ ਹਰ ਇੱਕ ਕੋਈ ਬਿਜ਼ੀ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਜਾ ਰਿਹਾ ਹੈ। ਜਿੱਥੇ ਫਾਸਟ ਲਾਈਫ ਚੱਲ ਰਹੀ, ਉਸ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਫਾਸਟ ਫੂਡ ਵੀ ਐਂਟਰ ਕਰ ਗਿਆ ਹੈ। ਖਾਸ ਤੌਰ 'ਤੇ ਨਵੀਂ ਪਨੀਰੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਹੈਗੀ ਹੈ, ਉਸ ਦਾ ਧਿਆਨ ਕੁਝ ਹੋ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ। ਉਹ ਇੰਨੇ ਬਿਜ਼ੀ ਹੋ ਚੁੱਕੇ ਨੇ ਕਿ ਖਾਣ ਦਾ ਤਾਂ ਸਮਾਂ ਹੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੁੰਦਾ। ਪਰ ਡਾਕਟਰ ਟੈਸਲਰ ਦਾ ਇਹ ਕਹਿਣਾ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਨਵੀਆਂ ਟੈਕਨੀਕਸ ਨੂੰ ਅਡਾਪਟ ਕਰਕੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਐਟਲੀਸਟ ਚੰਗੇ ਤਰੀਕੇ ਨਾਲ ਸਮੇਂ ਨੂੰ ਸਹੀ ਯੂਟਿਲਾਈਜ਼ ਕਰਕੇ ਜੋ ਸਾਡੀ ਪੁਰਾਣੇ ਖਾਣਾ ਪੀਣਾ ਹੈ ਉਸ ਨੂੰ ਬਰਕਰਾਰ ਰੱਖ ਸਕਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਅਤੇ ਆਪਣੇ ਆਪ ਨੂੰ ਸਿਹਤਮੰਦ ਰੱਖ ਸਕਦੇ ਹਾਂ। ਬਹੁਤ ਸਾਰੇ ਹਰਬਸ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਹੈਗੇ ਨੇ ਉਹ ਵੀ ਸਾਡੇ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਬਹੁਤ ਬੈਨੀਫੀਸ਼ੀਅਲ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਨੇ। ਦਵਾਈਆਂ ਦੇ ਮਾੜੇ ਅਸਰ ਨੇ, ਲੇਕਿਨ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਹਰਬਸ ਦੇ ਕੋਈ ਮਾੜੇ ਅਸਰ ਨਹੀਂ, ਬਲਕਿ ਐਬਜ਼ੌਰਪਸ਼ਨ ਰੇਟ ਵੀ ਵਧਾਉਂਦੇ ਨੇ ਅਤੇ ਉਸ ਤੋਂ ਇਲਾਵਾ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਤੰਦਰੁਸਤ ਵੀ ਰੱਖਦੇ ਨੇ। ਭਾਵੇਂ ਮਾਨਸਿਕ ਤੌਰ ਦੀ ਅਸੀਂ ਗੱਲ ਕਰੀਏ ਜਾਂ ਸਰੀਰਕ ਤੌਰ ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ, ਇਹ ਹਰਬਸ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਨੇ, ਜਿਹੜੇ ਕਿ ਸਾਡੇ ਘਰਾਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਹੀ ਮਸਾਲੇ ਪਏ ਹੋਏ ਨੇ, ਇਹ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਤੰਦਰੁਸਤ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਨੇ। ਪਰਸਨਲ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਕਰਨੀ ਹੋਏ ਤਾਂ ਡਾਕਟਰ ਟੈਸਲਰ ਨਾਲ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸਕਰੀਨ 'ਤੇ ਦਿੱਤੇ ਹੋਏ ਫ਼ੋਨ ਨੰਬਰ 'ਤੇ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਵੀ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ।